Hi, and welcome to Simple Strategies to Create Your Extraordinary Life. So, this today I'm going to talk about gratitude, which is a topic that I've discussed before and one that I will come back to because I think it's so incredibly important in our everyday lives to foster the idea and the practice of gratitude. So about 4.5 decades ago, a guy by the name of Martin Seligman, a psychologist, started studying, rather than studying all the stuff about in psychology, like anxiety and depression and post-traumatic stress. He studied learned helplessness, and he decided that it would be a really good idea to start studying what brings us joy, what makes us happy, what makes us psychologically more resilient. And he studied various positive emotions, but one of the ones that really took off in the research and became a very well studied positive emotion is the idea of gratitude, of being grateful, thankful, appreciative. And what he discovered is that there is a very strong correlation between being grateful and being psychologically fit or mentally strong, psychologically strong. So there's a real connection between being grateful and being mentally sound, emotionally sound. And there also is a great positive link with gratitude and your capacity to be happy. So, what I wanted to talk about is how do you cultivate this? There are many ways that, and before I even go into that, I do want to say that the first key, like with most skills, because gratitude is definitely a skill that you could develop over time with practice. So if you don't feel particularly skilled at it, know that you could get better even by practicing a couple of minutes a day of some kind of routine that gets you into the mindset of gratitude. So how you could begin this is by first becoming aware of your mindset, which means that how do you react to situations? Are you being thoughtful and giving things a positive spin, or do you generally take it down a negative alley? It's been shown that our propensity towards negativity is much stronger and more powerful than our idea about positive events. So we tend to interpret things as negative much more often than positive, unless we really retrain our brains to start thinking more positively. Rick Hanson said, a psychologist who wrote Buddha's Brain, he's amazing in the field. If you want to read a great book on this, Buddha's Brain is one of them. What he wrote is that negativity is like Velcro. In other words, if somebody says something negative to you, chances are you're going to remember that thought for quite a while, even for a really long time. Whereas if somebody says something positive, you might get a momentary high from it, but chances are it will slip away. And somebody could say 5 really wonderful things to you and 1 negative thing, and chances are you'll remember the negative because that's what stands out in our minds. That's what we cling to. But this is something that we could shift with practice. So once again, how do you practice being more grateful? For one thing, you could start your day every day by thinking of something positive, something that you're looking forward to in the day, or even setting an intention for, I'm going to make today an enjoyable day. I'm going to rock today. I'm going to really savor, even if you have an overwhelming schedule, that you are making the conscious decision and commitment to enjoy your day. even if things don't work out the way you had hoped, if you set the intention for having a more positive day or a great day, chances are much greater that you will move in that direction. If you launch your day by saying, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed and I look terrible and I have meetings with people I can't stand, and you're going into that kind of a mindset, you will be creating more negativity for yourself, because the brain is very sensitive to our thoughts. So we have to be careful about the thoughts that we choose to feed. So if you do have a negative thought, what I recommend is that you just let it slip through, keep moving it through your mind, and then when you have a positive thought, to allow yourself to take that thought in and maybe pause, take it in a little deeper. So you could start your day out with, okay, this is what I'm looking forward to. This is what I feel grateful for today. And then during the day, if there's a positive experience, another thing you could do is, again, pause, take a couple of deep breaths, and just take in that moment with a friend, or a delicious cup of coffee, or a walk, or just noticing something in nature. You could take something positive in and let it kind of land. And that way, what you're really setting yourself up for is thinking more positively. You're getting your brain adjusted to scanning the horizon for positive stuff rather than scanning the horizon, which is what most of us do, for what's not working. Many of us do that. We look at, oh my God, this is not working, that is not working, and we don't notice all the good stuff that we are so blessed with. And so we want to cultivate a more positive way of thinking of things, because that positive thought process generates more happiness and more positivity. And you could do it incrementally every day, spending a minute or two just thinking about what you're grateful for. A couple of other ways is at the dinner table, asking everybody by looking, I like to think of this as a rose, thinking about the roses rather than the thorns. So many of us get stuck on the thorns rather than thinking about the joy of another day, the joy of opportunities every single day to connect with people, to love people up in our lives, and all that we're blessed with just by breathing and showing up for another day. So going around the dinner table and saying, what were your roses? What was the best part of today? Rather than focusing on just dinner conversation about all the complaints and all the stuff that didn't work. So, and lastly, well, there are two more ways. I could think of many ways, but I just want to talk about two other ways that you could cultivate gratitude. The one that I do every night is, before I go to bed, I always say my gratitudes to myself. I used to record them for years. I just recorded them in a journal, and just listing 3 to 5 things makes you more resilient and hardier, and it does develop that positivity and the capacity to be more grateful. And then lastly, what you could do, and there's great research on this, that this is so powerful and effective, and that's to write down 3 things. When you write the things down, then you're involving different senses, different parts of your brain by writing it, by thinking it, by seeing it. And it's a great way to get started, just to say, okay, what am I grateful for, without making it conditional or by modifying it about what didn't work, but just sticking with the positive. And this doesn't mean making stuff up. It just really is plain observation about what's working and what's good. And what I encourage you to do is not make it the same stuff every day that you're grateful for. Like, I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my apartment or my loved one, my partner, my kids. It's good to appreciate all of those things, and I recommend that you put them in there, but that you also notice the nuances that just spark your day, that show up in your life. Connecting with somebody, an unexpected phone call, a an unexpected observation, or something yummy to eat, or just all the things. There's so many blessings. And I just notice in the groups that I teach, and in the well, not once we've been into it for a long time, because then they know better. But I just notice, I taught a couple of classes today of groups that were not people that I have been with for a long time. And what I notice is that it's so easy for most of us to fall into this trap of all all the things that bog us down, and that when we shift and start taking more ownership for our experiences and our awareness, our awakeness to what we encounter in everyday life, we can put a positive slant on what is actually there and true and aligned with our values. So I hope that you will open your heart, open your mind, open your eyes up to all that's good, and not just let it slip away, but in fact, make it matter in your life. Make it count. Our lives are moving on every day, every minute, and it behooves us to capture all the sweetness and savor it. And that is the last thing I want to tell you, is that what I often do is a gratitude meditation, especially if I'm having a hard day or I get a little distracted by events. And all that involves is thinking of one sweet moment. Just think of a sweet moment right now. Anything that's happened in your day, there is something, I guarantee you. Maybe the smell of coffee in the morning, or just feeling yummy in bed, or however you, and allow yourself to take that in. And in this meditation, you're just bringing it into your cells, to your pores, to your heart, to your mind, to your body. And by allowing yourself to do that, you are cultivating gratitude. So any one of these ideas work. It's just a matter of committing to them. And what I encourage you to do is choose one of these thoughts there. And you could Google gratitude and find others, but these are powerful ones. And choose one and make a commitment to doing that, and just practice it for a week or two and notice the results. And I'd love to hear from you about how you experience any one of these practices, and how that lands for you when you practice, or how you think about that, any thoughts you might have. So I'd love to hear from you. Please look at, check in and write in feedback or comment. If you have any questions about this, I'd love to respond to you. And I look forward to hearing from you, and hope that you have a great deal of success in building your capacity for gratitude. Bye for now, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Simple Strategies to Create Your Extraordinary Life. Bye for now.